proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cages loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the canes on its front. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
All right, folks, welcome. My name is Jen from Golden State Times. As you guys can read the title, this is an executive order that the president is going to sign in just a few minutes. He's also going to deliver a speech. There's so much going on right now in politics in Washington and basically all around the country. There's a bunch of stuff happening. But the president is going to sign an executive order on... Give me a second as I lower this. Here we go. So the president is going to sign an executive order preventing veteran suicides. So it's a very, very crucial issue. It's very important. It's been happening for a very long time. And now the president wants to make sure that it stops or that we prevent it somehow from happening. So we're just going to have to see what the president has to say, what the executive order is going to entail. And also, we're going to have more information on our website, goldenstatetimes.com, after this live stream regarding that executive order and what it's going to actually do. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Whoops. Sorry about that. So I'm going to be putting something up on your screen right now as we get everything ready for you folks. Once we get the footage from inside the White House, then we'll be switching it over. Thank you so much. Oh, we would actually also like to ask you to please share this live stream on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on Reddit, on any of those social media sites would be amazing. Thank you so much for your continued support. Also, don't forget to click the thumbs up button, as that helps the channel out so much. Thank you.
And thank you very much also to a man named Matt Schlapp. What a job he's done. And to CPAC, I actually started quite a while ago in CPAC and came here, probably made my first real political speech, and I enjoyed it so much that I came back for a second one, then a third, then I said, what the hell, let's run for president, right? But it's wonderful to be back with so many great patriots, old friends, and brave, young conservatives. What a future you have. Our movement and our future in our country is unlimited. What we've done together has never been done in the history, maybe of beyond our country, maybe in the history of the world. They came from the mountains and the valleys and the cities. They came from all over. And what we did in 2016, the election, we call it, with a capital E, it's never been done before, and we're going to do it, I think, again in 2020, and the numbers are going to be even bigger. And we all had to endure as I was running. So you had 17 Republicans plus me. And I was probably more of a conservative than a Republican. People just didn't quite understand that. They didn't understand it. I think now with what we've done with the judiciary and so many other things, I think they get it very well. And it's driving the other side crazy. But we all had to endure, remember? How many times did you hear for months and months, there is no way to 270? You know what that means, right? There is no way to 270. They couldn't get me there. We might as well have just given up. But there wasn't any way to 270. In fact, I actually went up to Maine to get one, and I did win the one, but we didn't need the one. We won Maine. We won our half of Maine, remember? You have Nebraska. We won both in Nebraska. We won the half we had to win in Maine. So we got the one, but we didn't need the one because we didn't get 270. We got 306 to 223. 223, 306. A state called Wisconsin, a state called Michigan, where, by the way, where Fiat Chrysler just announced a $4.5 billion incredible expansion and new plant, doubling their workforce. Many, many car companies have moved back to Michigan and are continuing to do so. Big numbers. Nobody ever thought they'd see that happen. So I think we're going to do even better in 2020. I think we're going to do numbers that people haven't seen for a long time. The men and women here today are on the front lines of protecting America's interest, defending America's value, and reclaiming our nation's priceless heritage. It's true. With your help, We are reversing decades of blunders and betrayals. These are serious, serious betrayals to our nation and to everything we stand for. It's been done by the failed ruling class that enriched foreign countries at our expense. It wasn't America first. In many cases, it was America last. Those days are over, long over. America is winning again. America is respected again. And the world knows it. When I meet with prime ministers, when I meet with presidents, and I get along with them, because they know that what's taken place over many years, not just the Obama administration, long before that, they can't believe themselves that they got away with it. They can't believe it. An impossible thing. And they like me. And the reason they like me, they tell me. They say, Mr. President, I said, as an example, President Xi of China, I have great respect. We have a great relationship. I say, how is it possible that you got away with this for so long? And he said, because nobody ever asked us to change. It's true. When they charge 40% tariffs on our cars going into China, and we charge them nothing coming into our country, when they raise their tariff from 10% to 25% and then to 40%, and they said to me, we expected that somebody would call and say, you can't do that. Nobody called, so we just left it. And I don't blame them. We should have been doing the same thing to them, but we didn't. True. Right? Hard to believe. It's hard to believe. But now things are different. Now we're negotiating with China. They wouldn't negotiate with previous administrations. But I found some very old laws from when our country was rich, really rich. The old tariff laws, we had to dust them off. You could hardly see, they were so dusty. But fortunately, they weren't terminated. We started getting politically correct even back then. But I said, when we were doing the great things, what happened to those laws? And I checked, and I found 301 and 382. I found one 1938, where we could do what we have to do. But you know, they had a debate it was really a rough time in our country because we had so much money, we didn't know what the hell to do with it. Tough time. It was called the Great Tariff Debate. Mark Levin will look this up. And the problem is with Mark, if I make a little mistake, he'll let us know on Sunday night. I got to be very careful when I talk about this. But it was the Great Tariff Debate of 1888. And the debate was, we didn't know what to do with all the money we were making. We were so rich. And McKinley, prior to being president, he was very strong on protecting our assets, protecting our country. And he made statements that others cannot come into our country and steal our wealth and steal our jobs and build their country and not defend our country. We can't do that. We can't ever allow that to happen. And you know, I don't know, maybe you know. You know, I'm totally off script, right? Thank you, darling. You know I'm totally off script right now. And this is how I got elected, by being off script. True. And if we don't go off script, our country's in big trouble, folks, because we have to get it back. And when I look at what's happening on the other side, I encourage it. I say, no, I think the New Green Deal, or whatever the hell they call it, the Green New Deal, right? Green New Deal. I encourage it. I think it's really something that they should promote. They should work hard on. It's something our country needs. Desperately, they have to go out and get it. But I'll take the other side of that argument only because I'm mandated to. I'm mandated. But they should stay with that argument. Never change. Never change. No planes. No energy. When the wind stops blowing, that's the end of your electric. Let's hurry up. Darling? Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling. No, but it's true. So the great tariff debate of 1888, and then we had so much money. We could do whatever we wanted. We built forces up that were incredible. Then in 1913, they ended tariffs, okay? They ended tariffs. Somebody got stupid, and they ended tariffs. They said, oh, it's okay for other nations to come in. I won't use a certain word because it's not politically, but everybody knows the word I'd love to use. Should I use it? I won't do it. Our great First Lady always said, don't use certain words, please. I say, but the audience wanted me to do it. She said, don't do it. And the problem is, if I do that, they won't put the little preamble that we just went through. They'll just use the word, and they'll say, isn't that terrible? So I won't use it. I've learned, because with the fake news, if you tell a joke, if you're sarcastic, if you're having fun with the audience, if you're on live television with millions of people and 25,000 people in an arena, and if you say something like, Russia, please, if you can, get us Hillary Clinton's emails. Please, Russia, please. Please get us the emails. Please. So everybody's having a good time. I'm laughing. We're all having fun. And then that fake CNN and others say, he asked Russia to go get the emails. Horrible. I mean, I saw it like 2 weeks ago. I'm watching, and they're talking about one of the points. He asked Russia for the emails. These people are sick, and I'm telling you, they know the game. They know the game. And they play it dirty, dirtier than anybody's ever played the game. Dirtier than it's ever been played. But the thing that we've done is very special, because on trade and because of tariffs, and I know there are people in the Republican Party and people, really even conservatives, good conservatives, they don't like tariffs. I'm not liking or not liking. The minimum, the greatest negotiating tool in the history of our country. Do you think China would be sending their top representatives over? Right now, China is paying 25% tariff on $50 billion worth of technology goods. I was then going to charge them 25% on $200 billion. Not like 200 million, that's a lot. This is 200 with a B, billion. 200 billion. So, but I was nice because we're having a very strong negotiation, which, if it weren't for tariffs, and I tell this to President Xi, this is nothing to hide. I would never be talking like this because, in theory, it could hurt your negotiating position, but in my case, it can't, because it's true. I was nice, and I left it at 10% on $200 billion, and here's the beauty. We've lost so much money with China, $500 billion a year, and on trade is such a disaster, it's $507 billion a year. China, just one country. We lose with everybody, almost. But China's one country. $507 billion for many years. So the beauty is this. I have $250 billion more to put tariffs on. The numbers are staggering. Billions of dollars right now are pouring into our treasury. And for those of you that haven't done the research, if you look, of the 25%, our country, as it's turned out, because it's now been on there for a long while, and I'm in no rush because I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Of the 25 points, we've paid for 4 points, and China's paid for 21 points. Okay, 21. That's what the numbers are. It's very simple. You know, everyone said, oh, it's a tax on our... It's not really. And what China and other countries do sometimes is they will subsidize it. So the tax really is incredible. But what it is beyond everything else, I can negotiate. But then you have senators and a few congressmen, but not Mark Meadows. Where's the great Mark Meadows? He's here something. Man, has he been good? Mark and Jim Jordan, and I want to name every one of those couple of hundred people, because we do have a lot. I want to name every damn one of them. They have been incredible. They've been fighting, and I just see Mark in the audience. They've been fighting with Deb, much more important. His wife is incredible. What an asset. He would be nowhere without her. Right? But they fight so hard on this witch hunt, this phony deal that they put together, this phony thing that now looks like it's dying, so they don't have anything with Russia. There's no collusion. So now they go and morph into, let's inspect every deal he's ever done. We're going to go into his finances. We're going to check his deals. We're going to check. These people are sick. They're sick. I saw a little shifty Schiff yesterday. No, it's the first time. He went into a meeting, and he said, we're going to look into his finances. I said, where did that come from? He always talked about Russia. Collusion with Russia. The collusion delusion. So now we're waiting for a report, and we'll find out whether or not, and who we're dealing with. We're waiting for a report by people that weren't elected. We had, think of this, we had the greatest election. In all fairness, I used to hear Andrew Jackson. This was now greater than the election of Andrew Jackson. People say that. No, people say it. I'm not saying it. Right? This was the equivalent or greater. You know, they used to go to Ronald Reagan when I first started. This is Ronald Reagan. Then we started really doing well, and they were coming from everywhere to vote. Those red hats and white ones. The key isn't the color. The key is what it says. Make America great again. That's what it says. Right? Right? But we had the greatest of all time. Now we have people that lost. And unfortunately, you put the wrong people in a couple of positions, and they leave people for a long time that shouldn't be there. And all of a sudden, they're trying to take you out with bullshit, okay? With bullshit. Now, Robert Mueller never received a vote, and neither did the person that appointed him. And as you know, the Attorney General says, I'm going to recuse myself. I'm going to recuse. And I said, why the hell didn't he tell me that before I put him in? How do you recuse yourself? But the person that appointed Robert Mueller never received a vote. Robert Mueller put 13 of the angriest Democrats in the history of our country on the commission. Now, how do you do that? These are angry, angry people. You take a look at them. One of them was involved with the Hillary Clinton Foundation running it. Another one has perhaps the worst reputation of any human being I've ever seen. All killers. In fact, it would have been actually better for them if they put half and half, and Mueller can do whatever he wants anyway, which he'll probably do. But we have conflicts. I had a nasty business transaction with Robert Mueller a number of years ago. I said, why isn't that mentioned? He wanted the job as FBI director. I mean, these are things that are out there. They know it. Why isn't that, and I didn't give it to him, why isn't that mentioned? Jim Comey, Lion James Comey, is his best friend. James Comey is his best friend. And those are a few of the conflicts. Other than that, it's wonderful. So everybody's waiting. I thought of it this morning, Mark, and I heard you made an incredible speech and statement today, Mark Levin. I heard it was incredible. And I was on the way, but I'll see it later. I guarantee I'll be watching it later. I have one of the great inventions in history. It's called TiVo. I think it's actually better than television, because television's practically useless without TiVo, right? But I'll be watching it later, Mark. But people that got no votes. But I heard this morning, President Trump is waiting for the Mueller report. I said, wait a minute, let me get this straight. So the Attorney General recuses himself, and I don't fire him. No obstruction. That's the other thing. If you use your rights, if you use your power, if you use Article 2, it's called obstruction. But only for Trump, for nobody else. So the Attorney General is weak and ineffective, and he doesn't do what he should have done. Somebody that never got a vote writes a powerful letter, horrible, about Comey. Every single Democrat said Comey should be fired, or worse if possible. Every Republican said everybody, in fact, when I fired Comey, I said, you know, First Lady, I said, Melania, I'm doing something today. I'm doing it because it really has to be done. He's bad. He's a bad guy. That's been proven now with all of the emails and the text. I'm doing something that has to be done. But you know the good news? It's going to be bipartisan. It's going to be so popular. It's going to be bipartisan. Every Democrat hates him. Every Republican hates him. He did a horrible job at the FBI. Speak to the real agents, the real people, because the people in the FBI are incredible people, not the sleaze on top. And I said to the First Lady, I said, but you know the good news? The good news is that this is going to be so bipartisan, everyone's going to love it. So we fired Comey, and Schumer, who called for his resignation many times, Podesta, I believe that day, because he still hasn't gotten over getting his ass kicked, okay? I believe that day called for his resignation. That day, Podesta, the great genius of campaigns, he called for the Comey resignation. Others, almost every, I would say Mark, would you say virtually every Democrat, I can't think of anybody that said he's doing a good job. So I said to Melania, the good news, this will be a popular thing. And I fire a bad cop, I fire a dirty cop, and all of a sudden the Democrats say, how dare he fire him? How dare he do this? And that's where we are, folks. That's where we are. We're in this swamp of Washington, D.C. But you know what? We're winning, and they're not.
All right, folks. So we just got an update right now. We're going to have the footage in just a few minutes. Thank you so much for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. Anyone that is sharing the live stream on Facebook and Twitter, I'm going to be giving them a shout out once we switch over to inside the White House, where President Trump is going to be signing an executive order regarding veteran suicides and mental health. So the president is trying to make sure that we take care of our veterans. As you guys know, VA choice has passed a while ago. Now, this is part of it, but this is really focusing on veteran mental health and suicide prevention. So that's what this is about, folks. The executive order is set to be signed in just a few minutes. The president is going to deliver a speech regarding this issue. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. If we were asking if you guys can please share this live stream on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on Reddit, on anywhere you guys can put it, to be honest with you. If you guys are, part of those groups on Facebook, on Twitter, on Gab, on Reddit, on any of those social media sites, if you guys can share it on there too, that would be amazing. If you don't have any social media at all, then send it through a text message or through email. However you can get it out there, it will be greatly appreciated by us here at Golden State Times. Again, if you guys share it on Facebook or on Twitter, I'll give you guys a quick shout out in just a few minutes. Thank you so much.
We're winning, and they're not. So just to finish, I'll tell you, MatchLab is loving this. He's saying this is a lot more than we paid for. You know, normally you read a few pages and you say, bye, folks. But you know what I like about this? Number one, I'm in love, and you're in love. We're all in love together. We've done something that nobody's ever done, right? It's easy. No, it's easy. You know, a great friend of mine from New York, he's a stone-cold killer. He's a brutal man. He's actually not even a good friend of mine because he'd turn on me in 2 seconds if it was okay. But he's a very rich guy. And he said, what are you going to speak about today? Like, what are you going to speak? I said, I don't know. He said, I just heard that you have the biggest crowd in the history of CPAC. They're all over. By the way, not only this giant room, they're in many hotel rooms all over the place. You're just better at real estate than they are. Yeah. But this guy, you all know his name, very rich guy, and he has a problem with a thing called public speaking. If he has to speak to more than like 5 people, he chokes. He can't breathe, you know. Are you okay? He kills people for a living, meaning mentally and financially. But if there's like an audience of 9, it's like... So he said to me, how the hell do you do that? And I said, it's easy. And the reason it's easy, I really mean this. There's so much love in this room. It's easy to talk. You can talk your heart out. You really can. There's love in this room. You can talk your heart out. It's easy. It's easy. It's easy. And we've had that From the day I came down with your first lady on the escalator in Trump Tower, it's been easy. And you know what? We never had an empty seat. We went out and helped Ted Cruz. We went out and helped so many people. And I'll tell you what, if we didn't do those 32 rallies, and it wasn't easy, when you're doing rallies with 25, 30,000 people, in Texas, we had 109,000 people sign up. We used the Houston Rockets Arena. It holds 22,000. Tens of thousands were outside. We were sending notices, please don't come. That's a little different. Usually people are begging, well, yeah, like, can somebody come? We never had an empty seat. Of course, the Washington Post, a guy named David Weigel, he wrote an article, some arena, no, listen to this. He wrote an article. He got there 4 hours early. He took pictures of an empty arena. He then put out a note, something to the effect, not very good crowd size, Mr. President. And I never saw it because I don't follow the guy. But thousands of people that were in that arena that was packed with 25,000 people outside that couldn't get in. He got there 4 or 5 hours early because he doesn't fly private, you know. And maybe it's because of the carbon footprint. You think maybe that's... Maybe. It must be the carbon footprint. He just doesn't want private. But he got there hours early. And, you know, the place hadn't started taking in people. They weren't going to take him in. So there were virtually nobody. And, you know, whatever it was, 18,000, when you have nobody, it's a little scary looking. So he took pictures. And you know who really got even? Our people. Because they were incensed. We had people sitting on the stairwells. We had people sitting in every seat. I don't think we've had an empty seat since we announced. And from the day we came down the escalator, I really don't believe we've had an empty seat at any arena, at any stadium. It's been an incredible thing. And that's why I say this has never, ever happened before. And now we have to verify it in 2020 with an even bigger victory. And by the way, just to finish that story, Chris, the great Sarah Huckabee and Mercedes, who is incredible, sitting right here. Mercedes, thank you. They always say, you know, they're good people, right? Much better than I am. They always say, don't bring it up. Don't fight. Don't fight. Everyone understands. I said, they don't understand. If I don't explain it, how are they going to understand? So remember the empty arena one, right? And then it was shown, and the Washington Post had to do, and this particular writer had to do I thought he was going to get fired. I mean, if that were a conservative, he would have been fired on the spot. He would have been humiliated for what he did because it was fake news. Nobody was in the arena. There were thousands outside, but they hadn't opened the gates yet. They did the same thing at our big inauguration speech. You take a look at those crowds. And I watched one of the evening shows that are ridiculous, how horrible they are, how mean, how horrible. And I watched it by mistake. And they showed. They showed from the White House all the way down. They showed from the Cap. They showed there were people, nobody's ever seen it. The Capitol, down to the Washington Monument. People, but I saw pictures that there were no people. Those pictures were taken hours before, right? And they always mention crowd size. He talks about crowd size. So I'm constantly bugging Mercedes whenever we have a slow moment. I say, Mercedes and Sarah, show them the pictures. Show them and compare them with what they put on television. Those pictures were taken hours before. And remember this also, not that Obama would ever do this, but we had fencing all the way down to the Washington Monument, and it was raining, and it was wet, and the grass was wet. And women and men, and I consider them totally equal, so I'm not going to say it's harder for them. In fact, it's probably, with the men I know, it's actually easier for the women to make the walk, right? But they had to walk all the way down. They had to walk with high heels in many cases. They had to walk all the way down to the Washington Monument and then back. And I looked and I made a speech and I said before I got on, I said to the people that were sitting next to me, I've never seen anything like this. Look at that crowd. And it was wide. Wide. We had a crowd, I've never seen anything like it. And I have to live with crowd size. It's all a phony deal, folks. But I saw a picture just the other night of practically no people. It was taken hours before our great day. That was a great day for us. That was a great, great day. People came from all over. People came from all over. So Sarah said, and Mercedes said, sir, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. I said, but I care. And people care. People care. So what I'm going to do is I'll give it to the great one. I'll give it to Mark Levin. And I'll give him the picture. And then I'll show you where they showed just the other day an empty field, like nobody on it. And you'll see the sun, you know, you can see it's very dark because the sun's like starting to rise, right? And you can have some fun. You're going to get big ratings on your show, I'll tell you that. Sunday night, everybody. Sunday night. 10 o'clock, right? Sunday night at 10 o'clock. Thank you. I knew that, actually, but thank you. All right, now let's get back into what I'm here for. And don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep, right? Don't fall asleep. You know, somebody said, oh, the speech you made, sir, the State of the Union speech was incredible. They said it was incredible. They said that was so great. And I said, I did. I got great reviews even from some of the really bad ones out there. Of course, by the following morning, they had to change because the head people called them, what are you doing? A lot of it's not the people on television, you know. A lot of it's their bosses, which someday we're going to have to figure out why, Meadows, why that is. Because, you know, if you're building a great country, you have the best employment and unemployment numbers we've ever had. More people are working today in the United States than ever before in the history of our country. And you say, why are they upset by that? Why? Why are they upset by that? We've slashed 30,000 pages of job-killing regulations from the Federal Register. That's an all-time record in the history of the United States, even by presidents that are there for 8 years and in one case more. We passed the largest package of tax cuts and reforms in American history. And we got rid of the individual mandate, which was a big deal, which should lead to the ending of the disaster known as Obamacare. It should. The great state of Texas has a case, and it was literally based on the individual mandate. Now that it's gone, I don't know how they rule against it. Now we'll have to find out. But that'll soon be up in the Supreme Court of the United States, I hope. And we're going to see what happens. And then we're going to get together with the Democrats and come up with really great health care. Okay? Really great health care. And one of the other things we did in our tax package is ANWR, perhaps the largest field in the world, oil and gas. I got it approved. And I didn't want to get it approved for a certain reason, because I thought somebody treated me very badly. Very badly. Don't get that vote very often. And I said, you know, I don't want to get it. Then I get a call from a friend of mine, and he's in the oil business. He's not asking for anything, but he really is a knowledgeable guy when it comes to oil and gas. He said to me, hey, and they all call me Mr. President. I have friends that for 35 years, hey, Don, how you doing? Hey, Donnie, I love you, Donnie. For 35 years, now they call Mr. President, sir. How are you? I have a friend, very rich guy, Richard Lefrak in New York, builder, good builder. He calls me all my life. Hey, Don, how you doing? I've known this guy so long, from kindergarten. It's true. Hi, Don, how you doing? How's everything? And now, I got a call the other day. Mr. President, how are you, sir? How are you? I said, Richard, lighten up. Lighten up. Call me Donald. Richard, call me Donald. You've known me for, I don't want to say because I don't want my wife to hear the number. But it's true. Actually, that's true. That's actually true. Richard came up. He said, I've known your husband for 65 years. I said, don't say that. I say 20, 25, 30. Don't say 65 years. But I said, Richard, call me Donald like you always do. Call me Don. Okay, Don. Okay. He gets his breath. 2 minutes later, Mr. President. But maybe that's a good thing. That's called respect for the office, right? Maybe that's a good thing, right? Many of my friends. And that wasn't in the script either, Mark. But we're renegotiating right now horrible trade deals that we're cracking down, and we are really doing a number, cracking down on countries that cheat and standing up for the American worker for the first time in many, many decades. Many decades. Our workers have been treated horribly. A country announces they're closing their plant in Michigan or Pennsylvania or Ohio. They're closing. They're closing a plant. They're going to move to Mexico. They're going to move to China. They're going to move someplace else. They fire all their workers. And then they sell their cars. No tax. Just make them in Mexico, sell them back to here. No tax, no nothing. Those days are all gone, folks. They're all gone. They're all gone. And in the new deal with Mexico and Canada called the USMCA, it's very, very hard, prohibitively hard, for a company to fire its 4,000 workers and move to Mexico or some other location. It's now a very costly. They can do it, I guess, if they want, but it's costly. It's painful. It used to be almost, I've been talking about this for a long time. I used to say, it's almost like we're giving them an incentive to leave our country. Again, I'm for America first. That wasn't for America first. And we have great companies that are now moving back to our country. They're coming back in. They're coming back in. And by the way, you know I'm building the wall. We're finishing the wall. We got a lot of money. It's in the thing. And there'll be some people in the room that don't like this. We're down to 3.7% unemployment, the lowest number in a long time. But think of this. I got all these companies moving in. They need workers. We have to bring people into our country to work at these great plants that are opening up all over the place. This was not necessarily what I was saying during the campaign, because I never knew we would be as successful as we've been. Companies are roaring back into our country, and now we want people to come in. We need workers to come in, but they've got to come in legally, and they've got to come in through merit, merit, merit. They've got to come in through merit. They have to be people that can help us. They have to be people that can love our country, not hate our country. We have people in Congress, right now, we have people in Congress that hate our country. And you know that. And we can name every one of them if they want. They hate our country. Sad. It's very sad. When I see some of the things being made, the statements being made, it's very, very sad. And find out, how did they do in their country? Just ask them, how did they do? Did they do well? Were they succeeding? Just ask that question. Somebody would say, oh, that's terrible that he brings that up, but that's okay. I don't mind. I'll bring it up. How did they do in their country? Not so good. Not so good. But we need workers. We have to bring in workers. One other thing, because we have a lot of people here that are important people in terms of votes. We have some senators. We have some congressmen. When a senator tells us that he's a free trader, so am I. I'm a fair trader. I'm a free trader. But when a senator said we can't do tariffs where we make a fortune, or at a minimum, we're able to use this tremendous power that I found. Tremendous, old stuff, nobody even knew it existed. I'm able to use it at a minimum to negotiate great and fair trade deals. They wouldn't even be talking to us because it's so one-sided. Last year we lost 800, this is for many years, almost $800 billion on trade. It's not sustainable. You can't do that. And now we're making great trade deals. But when some of the senators, good people, I think they're good people, I just don't understand the thinking. So I say India is a very high tariff nation. They charge us a lot. When we send a motorcycle to India, it's 100% tariff. They charge 100%. When India sends a motorcycle to us, we brilliantly charge them nothing. So I want a reciprocal tax, or at least I want to charge a tax. It's called a mirror tax, but it's a reciprocal tax. Now, here's what I don't understand. I've had a lot of people, Lindsey Graham, I said, Lindsey, it's not his thing necessarily.
All right, folks, give me a second here while I switch it over. We have footage from inside the White House, so give me a second here. I'm also going to be giving shout outs to everyone that is sharing the live stream on social media as a thank you for your support. So here we go, folks. This is live footage. We have the hot mic on. We're going to be turning it on in just a second, and then we'll go on from there. The president should be coming out very soon. Again, I'm going to be giving shout outs real quick before we turn on the hot mic. Again, as a thank you to everyone that is sharing the live stream on social media. Here we go. So we have, this thing is updating. All right, here we go. So we have Marty Hall. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We also have Ask Kindsology. I hope I said that right. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. Let's see, who else do we have on here? We have Yeshua Yahoo 24. I hope I said that right. We have Rocky Nicky Dog. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We have Keith, and we also have Nano. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. Ms. B, thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Let's see, who else do we have on here? We have Stefan. Thank you so much, Stefan. And we also have Linda. Thank you so much, Linda, for sharing the live stream. Julie, Fran, and Reynaldo. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. All right, folks. So we're going to put the hot mic on. And in 5 minutes, I'm going to be giving more shout outs to everyone that is sharing the live stream on social media. Sharing this live stream is the way that we stay live here on YouTube, folks. So we need your help by sharing this live stream on social media and clicking the thumbs up button. The thumbs up button is extremely important when it comes to YouTube because that forces YouTube to recommend this to more people around the country and around the world. So if you want to help out Golden State Times, sharing this live stream and clicking the thumbs up button is one of the best ways to do it. Thank you so much.
Let's go. stick my gum in the fire. Trouble.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
We'll come
Hurry
visit
up
you.
and
We'll
nobody
come
will
visit
see
you in
us.
jail.
Stick it onto the fire.
You might never leave this country.
Thank you. I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm not asking you to commit now. I just thought of that. So, yeah, I'd love to. Any way we get the word out.
Yeah, I don't know.
So how long have you been at military or purple?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you've been the executive director since? Or a part of it? National commander, okay.
And that's part of our model.
How long have you been elected?
Oh, where you get out there?
They knew what to do. We trained
I was supposed to go into, but I didn't to old Evans Road and shit, which is why I have to admit my college man. That's why I had gum. I took it out.
They just don't know. And it's scary. The rest is history. Thanks. Hopefully we get next time.
Me too. We're all here for this one.
Big part of why we're here today. We really got this going. Plus the sun. Little difference.
People I haven't seen in a long time. Try to
All right, folks. So more Patriots are sharing the live stream. We have Alan and Roger. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Hood, Vincent, Kevin, and Michelle, Trisha. We also have Worldwide Awakening. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream, folks. Rosalie, Morgana. Let's see who else here. We have Kathy and For Truth. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Chaz versus Bo. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. We also have Stefan and Reverend Paula Snyder. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream. Marty Hall, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. So thank you so much, folks, that are sharing the live stream. That's the best way to help out Golden State Times continue operation here on YouTube. So that's very good way. Also, clicking the thumbs up button, folks, that forces YouTube to recommend this to more people. So if you guys can help us out by clicking the thumbs up button, that would be amazing. The president should be coming out. As you guys can see, the presidential seal is on the podium. So he should be coming out in any minute. Thank you so much. I also want to give a shout out to Juan. Thank you so much, Juan, for your support through Super Chat. All right, I'm turning on the hot mic on once again.
Robert, if we have a meeting team, I had a question for you. Very honored. Yeah, very honored. I'm working on getting a Purple Heart. I'm the national commander. You see me. I'm working on it. I can use all the help I can get. I've got a good friend in Afghanistan. A guy through a window. A rocket came in right after he blew up. And we didn't have a scratch on him. He's and he's almost dead. So, tell me he doesn't. I've seen guys with I can name some people that was there in high positions.
Yeah, I'll be glad. I'll be giving you a call.
Okay.
That's on my.
I heard about your son. I'm sorry about that.
He's just his story. Tells the story of something.
I had breakfast with a young Afghan. It was hit by IED. And we're talking about brain injury. He reaches into his pocket and says, "Here, look."
I'm wearing a process. I just
This much of his the surgeons gave it to him after the surgery. People the medicine. Here he's in his pocket. And so we gave him a car and it was customized for his disability.
Suddenly gets too low.
He's got serious short-term memory loss.
Every day is a challenge for him.
Did your son die later, or was he killed by the hospital?
No, he died a year out of service. He was
Survivor guilt, too.
Yeah, he was cornered. He was a corner. So one side of his head
It's a good combination.
It's good at both.
I'm sorry for your loss. The missions have changed so much. I have two sons. One's active in the Army, one's active duty Marine. My Army is 75th Ranger. He deployed 7 times. And even my Marine son deployed 4 times.
Steve and I really You're like a team. You have to send me in a fish. I can give you my number. I'll send you Steve.
I had to get my Marine son into a treatment. Thank God he came to me and said, I have a problem, I need help. He's on the right path now.
All right, folks, right before the president comes out, I want to give more shout outs here to everyone that is sharing the live stream on social media. So let's see, who do we have? We're going to be starting off with Lillian. Thank you so much, Lillian, for your support by sharing the live stream on social media. We also have, let's see here. Give me 1 second. We have Virulent Nationalist Dreg. Thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. We also have Crown. Thank you so much, Crown. We have Meld, Jacob, and Also, Carpy, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. Harold, world leading mad scientist. Joseph, Wildman, and Diana White, thank you so much for sharing the live stream on social media. I also want to give a shout out to Crazy Ferret Lady for your support through Super Chat. Thank you so much for your support. All of those Super Chats are going to definitely help us beginning the 2020 election, where President Trump is going to do a lot of rallies, folks. He's going to start, I think it's going to start in June. He's going to really start wrapping up in June and July, all through the fall into winter, and then all next year, folks. So there's going to be tons of Trump rallies coming up starting around June. And but there are going to be rallies, maybe one a month until June. But once June starts, folks, it's going to be like 10 rallies a month. And then going into 2020, it's going to be, I don't know how many, maybe 15 to 20 rallies a month. So the president's going to be going all over the place. So make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. We're going to be streaming every single one of those rallies for you, including all the events that the president is still going to have at the White House. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for your support through Super Chat. Thank you so much for your support by sharing this live stream on social media. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button. Thank you so much.
Good to see you, okay?
Yes.
How long do you have to? What's that? How long do you have to? Months. Yeah, man, to reattach the Achilles. Oh, it's Achilles tear. Oh. Yeah, that's the number one that guys are pretty well. I have to get promotion. Flight service. Gotta get over the wall. This is over. You want to race one lap around the
I don't think it's the president, it's just the staff.
General Patriots took over 101st Airborne Division.
I do keep moving to the other. You gotta pick one spot and stick to it.
So I was just,
I know, but I'm serious. I'm gonna move to the side.
No, I haven't.
I have not. And I love gym. I've been a gym since I was a college age.
Of course, we've had some pretty successful
It's actually much
Hi, everybody.
It's so good to see you.
Secretary.
brother.
How are you? Hi, everybody. See you in a second. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. I'll be heading to Alabama on Friday, so I think some of you will be joining me, but we'll be going down Friday, and we'll let you know times and when we're leaving and how long we'll be there. It's been a tragic situation, but a lot of good work is being done. We've been in constant touch with the governor and also the governor of Georgia. And so we'll be going to the area. We'll be Alabama and the general area. We'll see Governor Ivey. So that'll be on Friday. Thank you very much. And we're here today to confront a solemn crisis that requires urgent national action. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order addressing one of our nation's most heartbreaking tragedies, veteran suicide. Our mission is to mobilize every level of American society to save the lives of our great veterans and support our heroes in need. We've worked very hard on Choice for the Veterans and so many other programs, and done a really great job in so many ways. The veteran suicide is something that's been an incredible thing to watch, hard to believe. It's tragic. Today we can help end this crisis. I'd like to thank Secretary Wilkie for being here today with us. He's done a fantastic job as Secretary. He's making tremendous progress at the VA. We are also profoundly grateful to be joined by many of our nation's leading veteran service organizations, the best, and all of the state and local veteran leaders. And I want to thank everybody very much for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. I know how hard you've been working on this. Veteran suicide is a tragedy of staggering proportions. Hard to believe. An average of 20 veterans and service members take their lives every single day. Who would believe that's possible? There are more than 6,000 veteran suicides per year. The suicide rate among veterans is 1.5 times greater than that for non-veteran adults, and the suicide rate for post-9/11 soldiers has increased significantly over the last 10-year period. To every veteran, I want you to know that you have an entire nation of more than 300 million people behind you. You will never, ever be forgotten. We are with you all the way. I think you know that. Supporting veterans is a very, very important thing to me, and it's been very important from my campaign, from day one, and from before my campaign, but from day one. Supporting veterans in distress is a critical priority for our entire administration, everybody in the administration. Last year, I signed into law the largest funding bill for the VA in its history, which included $8.6 billion for veterans in mental health services. I also signed an executive order directing the Department of Defense, Veteran Affairs, and Homeland Security to ensure our veterans have seamless access to mental health care and suicide prevention resources. These efforts focus on veterans the first year after they separate from military service, when they are at the heightened risk area. The White House VA hotline has fielded more than 200,000 calls and successfully resolved 93% of the concerns our veterans brought to them. And they work very hard. It's been very, very effective. We secured $206 million for VA suicide prevention programming. Every VA medical center now offers same-day emergency mental health care. These are crucial steps, but unfortunately, most veterans who die by suicide have not been in the care of the VA. Many of them don't know about the programs that we have or the programs that we've instituted. In fact, nearly 70% of those lost to suicide have not received care from the VA in the previous 2 years. They're just not aware of those great strides. They're just not aware. It's just not something that's on their mind. This grave problem can only be solved if our entire country works together to build communities that truly serve, support, and protect our veterans from the first moment they return to civilian life. It's so different. They leave a military life and they go to civilian life, and it's just much different. We must keep our promises to those who keep us free. Through today's action, I am launching the Prevents Initiative, the President's roadmap to empower veterans and end the national tragedy of suicide. This order creates a new cabinet-level task force co-chaired by Secretary Wilkie. The task force will create a comprehensive national public health roadmap that brings together federal and local government, along with private sector partners, to improve the quality of life for our veterans and turn the tide on this terrible crisis. We're being helped greatly by our strong economy. Our economy is very, very powerful and makes it a lot easier for people to get jobs, including veterans. And a lot of companies are actually giving priority at our request to veterans, and they're very happy with the results. The task force will be charged with developing a national research strategy so that we can more effectively identify, intervene, and help veterans during a time of need. By investing in research and scientific advances, we can better understand the trauma our brave soldiers face and how to restore their faith and their health. Under this order, my administration will also work with Congress to pass legislation providing resources and assistance in the form of grants to communities so that they can empower veterans with critical information, services, and networks of total support. We're going to take care of our veterans. We're working so hard on this. We're making so much progress, and we're going to take care of them like never before. Veterans are America's greatest national treasure, and a lot of people understand that. Some people don't. I will tell you, our single greatest national treasure. They kept us safe, and we're going to keep them safe. They courageously fulfilled their duties to our nation. Now we must fulfill our duties to them. Here with us today is Frank Larkin. His son Ryan followed in his footsteps to become a Navy SEAL. Terrific, terrific young man. Tragically, Ryan is no longer with us. Frank, would love to have you come up and just say a few words about your great son, please. Frank.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Frank, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to our warriors and veterans present today, along with the veteran service organizations, our partners who are working hard every day to make a difference for our veterans who are in need, to the other government leaders here today, and to the survivors of suicide who live every day with the pain from the loss of their loved one. Ryan was a decorated, high-performing Navy SEAL who suddenly went over the edge. In the 2 years that we tried to rescue him, he was prescribed over 40 different drugs. His treatment was all psychiatric and behavioral health focused. All along, Ryan kept saying that something was wrong with his head, but nobody was listening. Months before he took his life, he expressed a wish to donate his body for TBI research. Ryan was concerned about his teammates and the similar struggles that they were experiencing following both training for combat and combat operations overseas. Many are burdened with invisible wounds as a consequence of going into harm's way into the service of this nation. After Ryan's death, we learned that he suffered from an undiagnosed severe level of microscopic brain injury uniquely related to military blast exposure, from firing our weapon systems, rockets, mortars, using explosive breaching charges, and being exposed to improvised explosive devices, IEDs. We are currently challenged by the fact that this newly discovered pattern of brain injury cannot be seen in a living person, not unlike the contact sport players who are trying to understand the effects of microscopic CTE, which also cannot be seen in a living player. This executive order is defining a national strategy that needs to resemble a Manhattan-like project. We need the science to illuminate our path forward. I am convinced that we can solve this. It is not because we lack the intellectual capability or capacity. In many cases, it's because of culture. We need all the relevant players to step onto the same field of play at the same time, completely focused on solving this problem. We need collaboration, integration of data, and unity of effort across DoD, the VA, HHS, DHS, academia, and the private sector. We need a holistic approach with a heightened sense of urgency to push the scientific research. As we develop knowledge, as we experience with the Manhattan Project and space exploration, we will inform on other disease processes and therapies that will go well beyond the veteran community and vice versa. I receive calls almost weekly from special operators, past and present, seeking help. They want to know what is happening to them. They are experiencing unexplained changes. They want to know if the pain will get better, if the demons will go away, if they will return to being the person they once were. I have to commend my own SEAL community and the Special Operations Command for embracing this challenge. They realized that things did not go well in Ryan's case, that he got left behind. They are working hard now to get it right, collecting exposure data, promoting a brain donation program to advance the research, increasing baseline health surveillance, and changing tactics to reduce exposures, especially in the combat training environment. We also need to appropriately recognize invisible wounds suffered on the battlefield. The monetary cost of a Purple Heart Award is low, a few dollars for the medal itself. But the emotional impact is very high to those suffering daily with these obscure injuries, to be recognized for their sacrifice. Mr. President, following this event, I'm going over to Arlington National Cemetery to tell Ryan that he's still making a difference, that he's still helping his boys. We can't leave any more of our valiant men and women behind. To our warriors, our veterans, and their families, please do not lose hope. We will find a better way. Remember, we made a promise to take care of those who served us. Failure is not an option. Mr. President, I thank you for the platform.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank, very much. Also here today with us is Thomas Winkle, a Marine Corps veteran. He is the director of the Arizona Coalition for Military Families and the creator of a nationally recognized community collaboration model called Be Connected. And Thomas, if I might, could you please come up and say a few words? Thomas, thank you, Mr. President. Okay, thank you, Thomas. Here you go. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I greatly appreciate being able to be here and speak with you all today. To Frank, I really appreciate your words. I'm sorry about your son. He is in our hearts, and you are in our hearts, your family, and Semper Fi, brother. Folks, the Prevents Initiative is exactly what this country needs. It is exactly what the thousands, the tens of thousands of individuals across the country have been hoping for. For the past 10 years, I've been working with states, every single state across the country. Local teams, state teams, federal teams. And when you boil everything down, all their concerns, all their hopes, all their dreams, all their frustrations, what it really comes down to is that there needs to be a sense of coordination and collaboration, unlike what we have today and unlike what we've seen before. We're not talking about just regular old coordination and collaboration or partnership that is partnership in name only, but we need partnership that is true, that is consistent, that allows the organization to meet both its own metrics and its altruistic metrics. It's incredibly important, and it's incredibly valuable. We have examples of this true partnership, little ones all across the country. One from Arizona happens to be in 2010. The Arizona National Guard had its highest rate of suicide ever. Very, very difficult situation. Partners got together under the leadership of a collective impact initiative, and we all had the same goal in mind. How do we reduce this number or get rid of it completely? Over the course of 36 months, we dropped the rate from the highest ever to 0. It can be done. We have the ability to prevent suicide, to make lives more empowered, to make lives have more meaning, and to be able to drive folks forward to feel the success that happens when they get a great job, or they get a great spouse, or they have kids. Look, the reality is that we've all known someone who has died by suicide. It is hard, it is painful, and we have the ability to stop it. What our belief is, and the way that we were able to do this, is that we worked with a no wrong door and no wrong person approach. A no wrong door, no wrong person approach. That means every single organization was engaged. Every single organization was involved that had a stake in service members, veterans, and their families, and their survival and their thriving. So, we have mechanics and lawyers and doctors and teachers and first responders. And we have hotel clerks. One of my favorite stories is a hotel clerk that noticed that a person that was checking in happened to be a veteran, that they were struggling in a variety of different ways, but the hotel clerk didn't know what to do. He called what we have in Arizona called the Be Connected line, talked with them. They coached him through, how do you just connect with the individual? So the clerk goes up to his room, knocks on the door and says, "Hello, sir, I just wanted to check in with you. You seem like you might be a little distressed, and I wanted to see if there was anything I could do for you." The individual said, "I'm so glad that you came up. I'm so glad that you talked with me, because I was sitting here contemplating how I was going to die, not whether, not if. So you may have just saved my life." We hear these stories consistently, and it takes the entire community to be able to do this. Everybody working off the same page. Our belief is that if everyone knows what to do when an individual is in trouble, they will act. And we've seen it time and time again. So, Mr. President, we greatly support this act, or this initiative. It is an incredible thing. We deeply appreciate everything that you've put into this. It is going to make a huge difference. And I can speak on behalf of Arizona and the other states that I've spoken with that we stand ready. Thank you.
So Thomas, I heard one thing beyond all else when you just spoke so beautifully, and that was from the highest rate ever to 0. That was a very big statement, so we're going to have to find out what you're doing. Somebody's got to get together with you. That's an incredible job. I've heard about it too. Highest rate ever to 0.
Thank you, Mr. President.
That's what it's about. That's what we're up here for. There has to be something that we can do.
There is.
20 a day? It's hard to believe. So thank you very much. Come here again. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask a man who's really done an incredible job before I sign, Secretary Wilkie, to step up and just say a few words. I'm so happy that he's our secretary. If you look over the last fairly long time now that he's been secretary, we've had so many good stories about what's happening generally at the VA. We're extremely proud of choice. It's been many, many decades that they've been trying to get choice, where a veteran can go out and see a doctor if the lines are long. They don't have to wait 4 days, 9 days. I always say 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, never get to see a doctor. People go online and they're not feeling well and they end up being terminal by the time they get to see a doctor. And by the way, we have great doctors, I have to say. I've heard one thing I hear, we have great doctors in the VA. A lot of people say getting there is tough, but when you see them, they're as good as anybody in the world. We have great doctors. But a man who's really put it all together is Secretary Wilkie. So, Secretary, please say a few words, please. Come on over here.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've said this to you before, separate and apart from the honor of serving in your administration, but I am what passes for an amateur historian. And there has never been a campaign or an administration where the candidate and the president put veterans at the centerpiece of his campaign and his administration until you did that. And as I speak for all of us who have worn the uniform in whatever capacity we have served, we can't thank you enough for that,
Thank you
sir.
very much. Thank you, sir.
So last week, 3 Department of Veterans Affairs heroes put their lives on the line to keep a fellow veteran from taking his own life. Dr. Bruce Goldfeder, Dr. Evelyn Alba, and hospital technician Navarone Johnson in the West Palm Beach VA Medical Center risked their lives to save the life of a veteran. 2 of our VA heroes were wounded, 1 severely, but that veteran lived. Since 2017, VA employees, doctors, nurses, technicians, policemen have saved 243 veterans, just like the one that our heroes saved in Palm Beach. But since 2017, 19 veterans have not been saved. That is what today's ceremony is about. It is about pulling together the resources of the federal government, our states and localities, our charities, our non-governmental organizations, and coming together with a roadmap and the resources to make sure that we no longer have those 19. I've said many times that the mission of the Department of Veterans Affairs is to remind our fellow citizens why they sleep soundly at night. They sleep soundly at night because of the sacrifices of a select number of their fellow Americans who have taken the affirmative step to serve in uniform. Those, as the President said, those 20 who every day take their own lives, 14 of them outside of our VA system, most of them from my father's generation, his comrades from Southeast Asia. We deserve for them the last full measure of our devotion, and this begins the closing of that circle. And Mr. President, I thank you and for your team for everything they have done on behalf of America's warriors. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
This is very important to me and to everybody here. Thank you very much. Yes, Frank, here you go, Frank.
Symbol of all the veterans who have taken their lives. We've got to keep our eye on the ball.
Thank you, Frank. These are, you can pass these out. Okay, you'll pass them around. Thank you very much, everybody.
Sir, your response to the Democrats who are calling for a criminal investigation into Garrett's security clearance?
The witch hunt continues. The fact is that I guess we got 81 letters. There was no collusion. There was a hoax. There was no anything. And they want to do that instead of getting legislation passed. 81 people or organizations got letters. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to our country. I'm not surprised that it's happening. Basically, they've started the campaign. So the campaign begins. But the campaign's actually, their campaign's been going on for the last 2.5 years. So it's a shame. And the people understand it. When they look at it, they just say presidential harassment. But that's okay. No administration has accomplished, probably you could say this with absolute surety, in the first 2 years, anywhere near what we've accomplished, whether it's the tax cuts, whether it's regulation cuts, whether it's the Veterans Administration, what we've done with the Veterans Administration with choice and so many other things that nobody thought would be possible to get passed. No administration has done in its first 2 years what the Trump administration has done. So what the Democrats want to do, they cannot stand the loss. They could not stand losing in 2016. I see it all the time. I see people getting on. I saw a certain person get up yesterday, the anger, and they just haven't gotten used to the fact that we won a lot of states that haven't been won by Republicans in a long time. But essentially what they're saying is the campaign begins, instead of doing infrastructure, instead of doing health care, instead of doing so many things that they should be doing, they want to play games. President Obama, from what they tell me, was under a similar kind of a thing, didn't give one letter. They didn't do anything. They didn't give one letter of the request. Many requests were made. They didn't give a letter. It's too bad, because I'd rather see them do legislation. We negotiate out legislation where so many things, actually things that we agree on, like infrastructure, but they want to focus on nonsense. So I just want to end by thanking all of the people that are in this room today, very special people. The job you've done for the VA is incredible. And just keep up the good work. And Secretary, you've been fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
All right, folks, thank you very much for joining us and choosing us as your stream of choice. Here, let me fix this real quick. All right, folks, so if you guys missed the speech, I'm uploading it right now on the channel, so make sure that once it's done, I'll let you guys know, and you guys can head out over there and give it a thumbs up and share it on social media and watch it if you guys missed it. But it's being uploaded right now. Thank you so much once again for choosing us as your stream of choice here at Golden State Times. There is going to be a State Department press briefing, but since the president just finished right now, we're going to be uploading it soon as it's done, because we can't really stream it since it already started. So we're going to be uploading that. Stay tuned for that later on today. If there's any other live streams, then we will be streaming it live. If not, we're going to be uploading a bunch of news videos, folks. There's a lot happening. Today, the Border Patrol had a press conference regarding the apprehensions that they've been having in January, February, and up to right now in March. We're like 5 days into March, and they already had apprehended more than 1,000 people. So we're only 5 days in, and it's just skyrocketing almost every single month. And also there's more information coming out on how coyotes and smugglers and stuff are using the Democrats' agenda to promote their smuggling. So they're telling people, hey, you don't even need to cross the border anymore. All we need to do is get you through the border and hand you over to Border Patrol, and then you'll be a U.S. citizen in no time. That's what smugglers are telling these people now. And that's exactly what the president has been saying for so long. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be uploading that soon. Again, if you guys missed the speech by the president, it's going to be uploaded in just a few minutes. So right now we're going to leave the chat open. If you guys want to stay and chat a little bit, I'm just going to put on some music. Once we upload the video, if you guys can help us by heading over there and giving it a thumbs up and sharing it on social media, that would be amazing. But thank you so much once again for choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. Again, we're going to leave this stream going. The chat is open. You guys can hang out and have a good time and put on some music. And then once the video gets uploaded, then I'll let you guys know and help us by going over there, giving it a thumbs up and sharing it on social media. Thank you so much.
Amen. march along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along. Glory, glory.
so we just uploaded the video. Hold on. I'm going to turn off this music because sometimes it's too loud. All right, here we go. All right, so we just uploaded the video. I'm going to be putting it up on the chat. So if you guys can please help us out by heading over there and giving that video a thumbs up and sharing it on social media, that would be amazing. Thank you so much for your continued support. This was an amazing speech by the president. If you missed it, go and check it out. If you already saw it, awesome, perfect, thank you. But also go over there and share it and give it a thumbs up. That way more people get to see it, the one that actually missed it. The mainstream media was just not passing this. They were not showing this on, that I saw, they weren't showing it anywhere. There were some, channels on YouTube that were showing this live stream, but not many. And I do not understand why, if this is such a crucial and important, it's in a very, very crucial and important matter. It's something that the public needs to be aware of, but mainstream media is not showing it. YouTube is suppressing it, and so is mainstream media, like always, But if you guys can help us by going to that video and sharing it on social media, you guys can help us. You guys can help the president spread the word about this, what he's doing, the hard work that he's doing to make sure that we stop veteran suicide. It's such a horrible, horrible thing that is happening all over the country. As they said, 20 veterans on average a day, folks, a day, not a week, not a month, not a year, a day. It's happening. So by the administration putting all this effort into it to curb this, to stop this, we need to figure out a way to help veterans who are suffering of, mental stuff, stuff that, they need someone to help them. And now the administration is looking into it. The administration is making sure that we find a solution to this problem. So if you guys can please head over there and share this video, that video that I'm putting up on the chat on social media, and giving it a thumbs up, that would be amazing. Thank you so much for your support and your help. All right, folks, once again, if you guys didn't hear it the last time, please help us by going to the link that I'm putting on the chat. That is the video that the president signing the executive order on veteran mental health. So if you guys can please head over there and share that video and give it a thumbs up, and so other people can see it. Like I said, it's being suppressed like always. It seems like it's like an everyday thing now here on YouTube, where YouTube suppresses the videos and doesn't allow it to be recommended, and it doesn't give it exposure. That is what they do on a daily basis. Whenever they see the word Trump, either in the title, the description, or the tags, boom, suppress. It's instant. It's an instant thing because it's a robot. It's a computer doing it. So they just put it in, and as soon as the AI or the computer, whatever is looking into it, sees that word, boom, completely and utterly suppressed. So we need your help. That's the reason we need your help, and that's the reason we do call to action and say, hey, you know what, guys, go over there, give it a thumbs up, share it on social media. That way, even if they do suppress it, word of mouth goes out and more people get to watch the video. That helps out the president, it helps out the administration, and it helps us out at the same time. It also helps out everybody else because more people get to see it and exactly what is going on. The mainstream media will never, ever, ever tell you that the president is doing what he just did today, which signed an executive order to make sure that we stop veteran suicides. It's a very, very important matter. This is literally what the title says. This is urgent. This is an urgent matter, just like the president said. So we need your help. All you have to do is go to that video, the link, I'm putting it on the chat, and share it on social media and give it a thumbs up. That's it, folks. Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been going over to the video and giving it a thumbs up and sharing it on social media. You guys are amazing, folks. You guys cannot believe how much I'm thankful for every single one of you, especially if you come here, like, you know, on a daily basis. You guys are amazing. But even those that maybe sometimes miss the live streams, but then go to the video and show it some love and give it a thumbs up, you guys are literally the best. And I know a lot of YouTubers say that and stuff like that, but for real, folks, from the bottom of our hearts here at Golden State Times, we'd like to thank you so much for your continued support and you know, letting us into your homes and and stuff like that. It's amazing. It's amazing to see all the love and support from every single one of you. We're going to be shutting this stream down in just a few minutes, but we're putting up on the chat just in case you guys missed it or you guys just barely joined us right now and you guys missed the president's speech. Him signing the executive order to stop veteran suicides is an extremely important issue, folks. And it's so sad to know that over 20 veterans commit suicide on a daily basis. That is what the VA secretary said. And it's very, very sad to hear something like that. And we need to fix this issue as soon as possible because the veterans kept us safe. And now it's our turn to help them. So if you guys head over to the video, you guys can check it out for yourselves if you guys missed it. If you guys didn't miss it and you guys already shared it, thank you. If you guys went already over there and gave it a thumbs up, thank you. But if you haven't yet, help us out by going over there to the link that I'm putting on the chat and giving that video a thumbs up and sharing it on social media. It's such an important matter. So thank you so much. Again, I'm going to leave this up for just a little bit longer. And then after that, we're going to be shutting it down. Thank you so much. All right, folks. So we're going to be shutting this live stream down. Thank you so much for tuning in and choosing us as your stream of choice. Like always, if you guys missed the president's speech, I'm going to be putting it up on the chat. Thank you so much once again for tuning in and choosing Golden State Times as your stream of choice. You guys are amazing. And I hope to see you guys here on the next live stream. Tomorrow, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. All right. We're just going off by speculation right now, but I think there's going to be a White House press briefing with Sarah Sanders tomorrow. So make sure you guys join us live here at Golden State Times. Also, a new Trump rally is going to be announced soon. I don't know if it's going to happen in March or it's going to happen in April, but it's going to happen in one of those two or both. We never know. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up in the near future. One thing that is going to happen on Thursday is that the Director of Homeland Security, Christian Nielsen, I believe that's her name, she is going to be on Capitol Hill as she is set to testify on border crossing. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. We're going to be streaming that live. That is going to happen on Thursday, so make sure you guys stay tuned live here at Golden State Times. Thank you so much, folks, and I hope to see you guys here next time. My name is Jen from Golden State Times, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much, moderators, for your hard work and your dedication and your help. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Peace.